It's time now for Countywide, a special presentation of Yavapai Broadcasting News. Join News Director Paul David and News Editor Philip Catafamo as they talk with our community's leaders, newsmakers, and people in the know. You'll hear about the hot topics in Yavapai County that affect all our lives. And now here's today's Countywide.
Welcome to Countywide. I'm Paul David. As always, it is great to have you in studio with us today, whether you're watching or listening. Yavapai County Attorney Sheila Polk is in studio. Voters said yes to Prop 207, recreational marijuana, back on November 3rd. And we thought we'd have Sheila come in and talk a little bit about that and the impacts that has for her office, for the county, and for the state in general. Hello, Sheila.
Good morning, Paul.
How are you?
I'm doing great. Thanks so much for having me on your show.
It's been a while, and I'm glad you're here. Prop 207 was passed by voters. What does that mean legally? What is Prop 207? Can you brush us up on that one? Because we talked before show, some things just we may not know about with Prop 207.
Right. Well, Prop 207 legalizes small amounts of marijuana use and possession. I think it's important for listeners to understand that marijuana still remains illegal in Arizona. Prop 207 carved out some limited exceptions. So adults who are 21 and over now are permitted to use and possess up to 1 ounce of marijuana, and only 5 grams of which can be the edibles, the concentrates, the gummies, that sort of thing. But beyond those amounts, possession of marijuana is still illegal. Prop 207 also allows home grows, so an adult, again, 21 and over, can grow up to 12 plants in their home.
And then harvest those. But I can't take that and then sell it.
Absolutely not. The folks cannot sell marijuana. None of that changes. You still can't transport marijuana for sale. You still cannot grow marijuana and start selling it to your neighbors. The only folks who get to actually sell marijuana will be the retail marijuana shops. Those probably won't be licensed till April of 2021. But, in terms of growing marijuana in your home and thinking you can turn around and sell it to your friends or your neighbors, that remains illegal.
That would still be illegal activity. Okay. There was a traffic stop YCSO did of a person with Ohio license plates from Ohio. They had 243 pounds of marijuana in the vehicle with them. We've talked about that some of the marijuana cases are being, what's the right word? Some marijuana cases we're not going to prosecute them. Yeah, they're expunged. Right. Can you talk a little bit about what's going to be expunged? And then somebody who's got 243 pounds in their car, they're driving through the state of Arizona, they get pulled over, they're still going to be charged with illegal possession with the intent of selling.
Absolutely. None of that changes. Prop 207 has provisions that allow for expungement of prior convictions for possession of marijuana. So expungement means that the person applies to the court, and if the court grants the expungement, then that conviction gets erased from the official state records. But the expungement provisions are limited to the behavior that is permitted under Prop 207. So if somebody had a conviction for selling marijuana, that will not be expunged. If someone had a conviction for possession of 2 pounds of marijuana, that cannot be expunged. So it's going to be limited to conduct that is now legal under Prop 207. So if someone had a conviction for smoking marijuana and that was it, then that could be expunged.
Okay. What if I'm on probation? I get caught with, say, less than 1 ounce of marijuana in my system, and say I've not been using it while I'm driving down the road. I get pulled over. Is that something that would that still be considered a probation violation?
No, well, we really haven't looked at the authority of probation to tell someone they can't use marijuana, even if it's otherwise illegal. So that's an area that is unexplored yet. But in general, somebody who is using a permissible amount of marijuana under, now moving forward under Prop 207, that would not be considered a criminal violation.
And I don't think we have to say it, but we probably should say it. You're not allowed to drink and drive. You can't consume alcohol and drive. Marijuana is the same case in the state of Arizona during this as well.
Exactly. Arizona's laws prohibit impaired driving, and it doesn't matter what you're impaired from. So it could be alcohol, it could be marijuana, it could be a prescription drug. You cannot drive while you're impaired, and it remains absolutely illegal. The other thing, Paul, to talk about is that Prop 207 legalized small amounts for adults 21 and over. So we have a group of folks who turn 18. Under most aspects of the law, they are adults, but under Prop 207, they are still not allowed to use or possess marijuana until they turn 21. My prediction is, and unfortunately, what we've seen from states that have legalized marijuana, youth use tends to go up. Adult use will definitely go up. But my prediction for Arizona is we're going to see a lot more cases involving that age group of 18 to 21 who are going to start using marijuana. They're going to get, busted, but it still will be illegal for them to do so.
Okay. How many cases has this impacted your office?
At this point, it's hard to tell. I had instructed my prosecutors to review their cases. If we have cases that are pending right now that involve conduct that is protected by Prop 207, then my instruction was go ahead and dismiss those cases. And that was really from November 3rd until December 1st, which is the effective date of Prop 207. It didn't make sense to prosecute those cases only to turn around and have them get expunged. So I instructed my prosecutors, look at your caseloads and dismiss the charges where you have somebody whose conduct is protected by Prop 207. I don't think we're going to see a lot of cases, quite frankly. We don't handle a lot of cases where somebody was just smoking a joint, for example. Those cases tend to get cited into city courts, and our cases tend to involve larger quantities, tend to involve the trafficking, the sales, like the bust we saw yesterday out on the interstate. The other thing is we have charges involving possession of marijuana, but a lot of times it's in conjunction with other offenses. So we might have a domestic violence case, and then the person also had marijuana on them. We're going to dismiss that marijuana charge if it falls under Prop 207, but the underlying case, the domestic violence case, will still continue.
Gotcha. All right. Let's take our first break, okay? Yavapai County Attorney Sheila Polk is in studio with us today. Yavapai.us is the website for the county. You can go there and find out more information about the county attorney's office. Also, if you've got questions related to anything related to drugs, matforce.org. Matforce.org is a great resource to go to. This is Countywide. Give us a couple minutes and we'll be right back.
Two things we can count on every year:
a new set of tax rules and great weather here in northern Arizona.
Jackson Hewitt Tax Service, locally owned and operated by Lewis Rice since 1997, is here for you all year long.
Your neighborhood Jackson Hewitt Tax Office will help you in all of your taxing situations.
Electronic filing is always free with your tax preparation at Jackson Hewitt Tax Service.
Get more in return. Call 1-800-234-1040 for an office near you.
The EPA says C&B Construction ranks in the top 1% nationally. C&B Construction invites you to see what energy efficiency and indoor air quality can be. We have won another Department of Energy Innovation Award, and C&B Construction is the only contractor in the country to win 6 consecutive EPA Indoor Air Plus awards. Experience our zero-energy, move-in ready homes at Crossroads at Mingus.
C&B Construction, locally respected, nationally recognized. Find out more at C&B homes.com.
Been hearing about the crazy benefits of CBD? Find out how CBD can help you at Sedona's #1 resource, CBD Sedona. Come in for a free consultation and let our trained medical staff help you find the perfect product for you. Pain relieving salves, full spectrum oils, CBD skincare, bath bombs, and even CBD for your pets. Come on by CBD Sedona today.
Terrifying jobs, high-flying linemen, take 3.
Josh, this is an absolutely terrifying job. Why do you do it?
It's a very demanding job, but very rewarding and exciting.
How much energy are you actually working with up there?
500,000 volts of electricity.
It's definitely not my line of work. Does anything shock you?
Yeah, distracted drivers terrify me.
Welcome back to Countywide. I'm Paul David. Yavapai County Attorney Sheila Polk is in studio with us today. Again, a couple of websites for you. Yavapai.us will take you to the county website, and then matforce.org will take you to a website with all kinds of information about drug addiction, drug activity, young people and drugs, just about everything, right, Sheila? Matforce.org. How long has Matforce been around now?
We formed Matforce in 2006. Interestingly, we formed Matforce over the drug methamphetamine because at that time meth was such a scourge. We expanded our mission to include all substances, including alcohol. The goal of Matforce is prevention. So we do a lot of education, we do a lot of awareness, we do lots of work on every substance. But what's interesting about Matforce having been formed over meth, after we formed, the county saw a pretty good decline in methamphetamine. But now we're seeing meth on the rise again. So meth and that's not just the county, but statewide, nationwide, meth is back in a big, big way. And meth in a very, what we're seeing are different variations of meth. So meth now we're seeing identified in a lot of our drug overdose cases that result in death. Meth is one of the causes of death.
I know they're sprinkling on all kinds of different things too, methamphetamine, so you just never know where it's going to be. And then fentanyl has been our new big one. Now, when meth was the big one, Sheila, correct me if I'm wrong, but you put it into place back then that if you were caught dealing it or transporting it through Yavapai County, it was just Yavapai County, it was an automatic 5 to 15 years, whether you had violations prior or not. Is that right? And then it went to statewide?
Well, it was statewide, so I had worked with the legislature to get the tool that would allow us to send meth dealers to prison to take them off our streets. And in 2006 or 2007, the legislature passed that law that, and this is statewide, if you're trafficking in meth, then you do face a minimum mandatory of 5 years. I actually tried last session at the legislature to get them to pass a similar law with respect to fentanyl, which we definitely should talk about. Fentanyl is just horrible.
Yes,
but
yes.
The legislature shut down and not a lot of things because of COVID. We didn't see a lot of action out of the legislature.
Odds are something like that's coming down the road because we've had a lot of overdose deaths in Yavapai County. Most recently, a 14 and a 17-year-old were in the news being overdose deaths related to the fentanyl, the blue M30 pill. I don't know how many times I've said that in the news over the last couple of years, but fentanyl has become the real new big drug in the area. Is that right?
Oh, yes, it is. We are just seeing it everywhere all of a sudden. I'll tell you, Yavapai County has had 5 teens overdose this year from fentanyl. And combined with last year, we've now lost 8 teens to fentanyl. And most people don't even know what fentanyl is. Most people don't even know what fentanyl is. It is an illicit substance. So you have fentanyl, which is a prescription, it's an opioid, very powerful painkiller. It's legitimate. But then you have this illicit fentanyl that is primarily being manufactured south of the border. And that illicit fentanyl, 100 times more potent than morphine. So incredibly potent, where just teeny little granules of this kit are added to a pill, and it's enough to kill people. So what we're seeing, particularly with people who don't even necessarily understand that they're getting fentanyl in a mimic pill, they're taking the pill thinking, they're going to get high, and then they wind up dead. We've even seen, Paul, baby aspirin mimic pills that are laced with fentanyl. So it is ugly, ugly, frightening, devastating stuff that's going on right now. Our message from Matforce, by the way, is fentanyl, one pill can kill. And that's the message I'm trying really hard to get across, in particular to parents, to help our kids understand this isn't just taking what you think is a prescription pill lifted from your parents' cabinet when you go to some party. We're seeing bad stuff out there in the form of these M30s and other mimic pills laced with fentanyl, and we are losing our kids to it.
I feel like the fentanyl pills, these M30s, you've got a pill over here that has this much potency in it, and then you've got this pill over here that has maybe 4 or 5 times the potency of it, just because of the way it was mixed together. Maybe it wasn't mixed together properly. It's not like a scientist is putting this stuff together out there.
Not at all. I mean, it's definitely a crapshoot, but it's just really evil to think of these illicit manufacturers who are making pills that look like legitimate prescription pills or look like legitimate baby aspirin, and they're lacing it with fentanyl, so that they can make better sales and smuggle it across the border. And this stuff is killing people.
I think the first time I heard about fentanyl was with Dwight Devlin from the Yavapai County Sheriff's Office. They had done a bust. I think it was on I-40. It was like 5 pounds of fentanyl, and it's something I had never heard of or even put in a story before. I think the only time I'd heard about fentanyl was with Michael Jackson or Prince, the musicians that died from overdoses of that. And Dwight was talking about and that's when I had them come in and talk about just how dangerous it was. And they're opening these packages out on the interstate to test them. And it's windy in Arizona. It always is. And just the thought of that blowing up in someone's face or getting on your hands, apparently it can absorb right through your skin too if it gets on you. And it becomes lethal just like that.
Yeah, and the good thing is that law enforcement is no longer opening packages.
Exactly.
They've acquired these test kits that allow them to test through the packaging, so that they can identify for the presence without having to subject themselves to what could be lethal. But all of law enforcement now carries this naloxone, which is used to reverse an overdose. They carry it to use not only on subjects they might find out in the community, but also on themselves should they be exposed. But that fentanyl is even, if the drug dogs are inadvertently exposed to it, it could take their life as well. It is bad stuff. The chemicals are coming from China. They're then being imported into Mexico, where they have these super labs that are producing massive quantities of this stuff. And then they're getting smuggled up into the United States. So when you see a traffic stop on I-17 with a bus, if it's northbound or eastbound, more likely than not, that is a load that came up across the border, got handed off to a transporter here, and they're trying to take it back east somewhere. But it is a huge scourge. I'm really concerned about it. Law enforcement's concerned about it. We are doing our best to get the word out. And by the way, on December 7th, Matt Force is doing a public presentation on fentanyl. So I would urge any listeners, go to mattforce.org, and you can sign up for that presentation. It's virtual, so you don't have to go in person, but learn more about fentanyl and learn more about how you can help protect our community from it.
Are you guys at Matt Force, are you taking those when you do those presentations and kind of recording it and then keeping it on the website so anybody who maybe can't come and watch live can do it later and learn more about it?
Yes. So, go to the Matt Force website. We have a lot of resources there for folks to tap into, to watch later, to help educate themselves.
Okay. All right. Very good. Very good. Let's take our second break. Yavapai County Attorney Sheila Polk is in studio today. This is Countywide. We'll be back in just a couple minutes.
Who doesn't dream of home improvements? Perhaps your kitchen, the real living room. Maybe the bathroom, where you bookend your day. Langstrand Contracting is your one-stop shop from tear down to finishing touches. With 35 years of experience, Chris and his team will work with you to match your family's style and budget. Call Langstrand Contracting today for guidance in bringing your vision to life.
Hi, this is Greg at Verde Solar Power. Arizona has lots of clean, renewable sunshine, and we want to help you take advantage of it with our quality solar installations. And we offer to beat any written offer on a residential solar electric system. So bring us your electric bill and let us show you how solar power will save you money. We're located conveniently here in the Verde Valley and are dedicated to helping the valley go solar. So remember, the energy solution comes up every morning.
Starting in the late 1920s, Grandpa Gettle and his brothers laid the groundwork for what would become a family legacy. Almost 100 years and 100 patents later, Gettle's High Desert Mechanical continues to raise the bar of quality heating, cooling, and plumbing products and services in the Verde Valley.
Call Gettle's High Desert Mechanical Heating, Air Conditioning, and Plumbing at 567-2200 or online at GettlesHDM.com, providing solutions for your comfort. Don't settle, get Gettles.
Terrifying job. Snake handler, take one.
James, this is a really terrifying job. Given the hazards, why do you do it?
I've been fascinated by reptiles since I was a child.
Tell me about your little friend there.
So this is Bear Hug. He's a Burmese python. We have him here at the Phoenix Zoo.
It kind of makes my skin crawl. Is there anything that rattles you?
Yeah, distracted drivers terrify me.
Welcome back to Countywide. We've got just a few minutes left of the program. Yavapai County Attorney Sheila Polk joins us virtually this morning for the show. Matforce.org is the website we want to send you to for any questions you have related to drugs, overdoses, cures, clinics, anything that you need information on it when it comes to drugs. Matforce.org is the place to go. Okay, we've talked Prop 207, marijuana. We talked a little bit about methamphetamine. We've talked about the dangerous drug right now circulating, fentanyl. Sheila, COVID-19's been around all year. In the last few minutes of the program, I kind of wanted to hear how this has impacted your office dealing with the pandemic this year, getting juries together, having trials actually take place.
Right. You know, in some ways, the county and our office, I think that if there's a silver lining in COVID, it's that it has pushed everyone to new ways of doing business. So the courts, for example, have moved to virtual hearings for most things. That means that the defendants, we're not transporting them to the courthouse anymore. They're appearing from the jail in one of our rooms there. And then the attorneys and the judge, everyone's appearing on a virtual application. Something that we have available through the county called Teams. So we've been able to continue to keep up with our cases. The one area that we can't do virtual are the jury trials themselves. And so those jury trials, we had to put them on hold sometime in the spring. We resumed them in August, so we started doing jury trials again. But then with this recent spike, now all jury trials for December have been rescheduled. So they've been vacated, and we're going to try to, as soon as this spike goes down, hopefully pick up with those jury trials. So, I mean, the good news is we were able to continue business as usual virtually. The bad news is you can't do that with jury trials. A defendant has the right to confront the witnesses. The idea, you have to have the jury in the same room so they only get to see the evidence that's part of the trial. So we haven't been able to transition to virtual jury trials, but everything else we have been able to.
Yeah, that would be tough to do a virtual jury trial, wouldn't it? A little tough.
Well, and it would be, I can just see that there would be some constitutional consequences that would not be acceptable. For my office, though, Paul, we had transitioned to electronic cases back in 2016. What that means is that all the attorneys have laptops. All of our cases are electronic only. We don't do paper files anymore. And that made it easy for us. We were able to transition to a work-at-home environment for most of our folks. About 90% of the employees in the county attorney's office work from home. And, there's no paper that you have to worry about. We have a skeleton crew in our office where paper that comes in the front door, it gets scanned and it's made part of our database. And then everybody working from home can still do their job as they always did. And I'll tell you, for me, one of the other silver linings is that just yesterday, the Yavapai County Board of Supervisors expanded the remote work provisions, or the work from home provisions. So they had permitted it on a temporary basis because of COVID. They now recognize that a lot of folks can effectively work from home. And so they've expanded the county policies to allow for that. Of course, the agency head has to permit it, and you have to make sure that the work at home environment is acceptable. But I'm excited about that. I think what we've learned from COVID is that we don't need to keep building office space for employees. And I think the private sector has learned this as well. People can effectively work from home. My office, they are troopers. They are getting the job done, working really hard and doing a great job. So I see for the future, the county attorney's office on a long-term basis, an environment where we have a lot more folks doing this remote working or work from home environment.
All right, we're out of time. Congratulations on your re-election. Happy holidays to you. Happy New Year. Great talking to you and seeing you. But that's today's Countywide. That's all we have time for. Yavapai County Attorney Sheila Polk. Again, that website is mattforce.org. That's today's Countywide. We'll talk to you again next time.
Thank you.